I've seen all these different things happen over the last 23 years, and I'm more optimistic today than I ever have been about the innovation companies having an impact on the global economy. What's happening now with the adoption of mobile, what's happening now with the generational changes and people being more comfortable using technology, is that the whole thing is changing. You see companies today going from small to multi-billion-dollar companies in 3 or 5 years. So I think what we're going to see in the next, again, 3 to 5 years is truly astonishing things, whether it's in software, whether it's consumer, clean tech, biotech, and that's exciting. You may ask the question about valuations and are we overvalued or undervalued, but I think you really have to go back and compare it to the 99-2000 time period when you had business models that didn't make sense, revenues that weren't there, and you had high valuations. So we get the question all the time, what's different between today and back then in our market? And it's really that. It's the business models were, I'll call it, in a bubble, and valuations were in a bubble. Today, the business models are solid. This is a broad generalization. Business models are good. And valuations, people may say, I would argue that they're high, they're priced for perfection, but it's not as if these businesses are going to go away. The valuations may go down, but it's just very different from what it was back then. Cybersecurity is one area that is just, as a bank, I wish it wasn't true, but it's an area that we have to continue to invest in, and we have to invest a lot in. And whereas it used to be financial institutions that were the key drivers of it, now people have realized it's actually not just financial institutions, it's every business. Anything related to mobile, anything with regard to software as a service, where you can put software in the cloud, it makes the business much more efficient. Personalized medicine. I mean, what's so great is it isn't one or two things. It is, a dozen different areas that are all incredibly exciting that we get to be part of. So there's a lot of little pockets like that across broad industries. So it's not just one thing. It is disruptions happening across every industry, and if companies don't embrace that, and they're going to be left behind. If you go out and talk to our client base and you ask them what are the biggest challenges, access to talent is one of the absolute biggest drivers. And you're seeing that in Silicon Valley, especially with the price going up. I mean, compensation levels are going through the roof. And I think that if that isn't solved, and there's a variety of ways to get it solved, it is going to backfire on Silicon Valley to some extent. More companies are going to start to have to look at other places because it's just too expensive. So the ways to solve that, obviously, one is developing people, training people. We right now today aren't graduating nearly enough people out of our universities in STEM degrees to satisfy the jobs that are opened. Right? And these are the high-paying jobs. So one is development and retraining, but you also have to think about immigration reform. For myself, it is incredibly frustrating to go back and spend time in D.C. And for the most part, on both sides, Democrats and Republicans are all in agreement that high-skilled immigration reform needs to happen. Right? And so the fact that it doesn't happen is so frustrating because these jobs need to be filled. And my view is if they don't get filled domestically here, and what I mean by domestically, I mean it's either high-skilled immigrants coming in and staying here long-term, developing the talent here, jobs will move overseas. We're so concentrated in the target markets we go after, our ability to make an introduction to another CEO that's going through the same sort of challenges is higher than another institution. Our ability to make an introduction to a potential partnership because we understand that business better than maybe one of our other competitors would. The value add that we give to our clients, right? Whether it's making an introduction to a potential client, making an introduction to a potential partnership, and why is that so important with technology companies? Well, the most important thing to technology companies is speed and execution. One would be innovative. I think they think about us, and I like to think they think about us as an innovative institution that's creative and trying to come up with new products and services to serve them. So we hear that a lot. The second part is client-focused. And that's two words, but client-focused from my standpoint, really says that we really care about the client, and you really have to, again, earn that relationship, every single day. The last part is I'd say team. And I think what I hear from people so often is that when they interact with me and tell me about our team, it's like, God, you got some really great people, not only smart, but they really like being together. They like doing what they're doing, and they like collaborating with each other. Our clients are the most innovative companies in the world, and so I'm always amazed when you go out and visit with clients and you hear what they're doing. I mean, it's amazing. What we're seeing other companies do is a big trend is set up innovation teams, and there's more corporate development, R&D innovation teams being set up in Silicon Valley right now than ever in history. So many of these larger companies are setting up corp dev teams here. Why? Because you do have to get out of the typical corporate environment. It's a time machine to help give us more hours in the day. We just added a new one, and I think it's probably something, and the trend is going to continue to gain ground. It's Chief Digital Officer, and again, for a bank, and for so many other companies that are approaching, the online side of their business or mobile side of the business, you really do have to have a C-suite executive who thinks about the digital experience with their clients and their approach to the market.